What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your oldie's favorite YouTube channel. The club continues to make the most perplexing moves when it comes to the Mercado. There's rumors out there of a way that they're looking to go. How will that affect Juventus, the squad makeup, and how will it affect you, the fans? Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today it is Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Of course, I got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you care about each and every single day. Before we do anything though, do me a solid favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. One more time, just to go ahead and remind you guys, if you could, pop on over to the Now We Can Talk Like Men podcast channel. I'll have a link in the description down below, as well as I'll pop it in right here, right now. If you go over there, hit that subscribe button, you will be entered in to win a Bianconeri Zone shirt, and we'll probably have some of our own merch in the future. What we're going to be doing though on the channel, every 100 subscribers, we are doing a giveaway of a Bianconeri Zone shirt or some other kind of merchandise. At 500, we will be doing a Juventus quality jersey. 500 subscribers, we'll be giving that away. If you could, really appreciate your support. Go pop over there, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, let's get into it. Without any further ado, let's get in the news that we have for Juventus, especially as we are in the heat of the Mercado. And right now, the very first news story that we're going to do is a lighter news story. I have, I guess, more of a fun news story, and that is, of course, Juventus basically not officially revealed, but has been revealed by La Bianconera, that of the new away shirt for Juventus. Obviously, we've kind of known this for a long period of time. I mean, it's been months that it's been out there, and we've been able to see it, but there it is, the away shirt for Juventus in all of its glory, I guess, if you'd like to say. Hopefully the product will be worthy of however you feel about this shirt. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Not my favorite, but I also don't hate it. The pink and the black and the white at least have meaning to the club and the history of the club, so that's cool to me. Otherwise, I'm not a big jersey guy. I'm not a big fashion guy. I prefer the traditional stuff. I prefer black, white, traditional look. This is somewhere in the middle between traditional and I guess a newer look. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Will you be buying the shirt, and what player will you be getting on that shirt if you do get any player names? All right, let's move it on and let's continue. Let's talk about some of the other things going on with the Mercado for Juventus. And first up, let's go ahead and get this news story out of the way. TORRES is reporting that Salernitana would like to keep Nicolussi Caviglia for a lower figure. Juventus could lower their demands to 5 million euros. So not surprising here. Not surprising to see Juventus once again lowering the bar, but lowering their expectations on how much a club is willing to spend for their players, while that never happens in the return for Juventus. But it is what it is. Potentially 5 million euros could be done for that sale. I don't know if a lot of people are really invested in this bit of news, but I thought I'd go ahead and throw that out there. All right, let's continue on and let's talk about when it comes to the leadership and the makeup of Juventus. Where are we going? What are we doing here? Who is going to be the guy? Is it going to be Giuntoli? Well, Tuttosport, I feel like I've been talking about this for weeks at this point, but basically Tuttosport is reporting that the war between Giuntoli and that of Napoli over contract termination continues. Juventus does not want to wait forever. After Friday, the club could go ahead without him. Meanwhile, Mana is set for renewal until 2025. Mana is going to be with Juventus in some capacity, regardless of if Giuntoli comes or not. Interesting though, obviously, when I say interesting, I mean kind of frustrating, especially in the last few weeks. You keep hearing back and forth and back and forth. Oh yeah, De Laurentiis has decided to crawl out of his swamp, and now he agrees it's okay, Giuntoli, you can go. And then of course, right back against it, 180. It's not actually happening, or maybe it's just not actually happening. Period. And the news outlets are just floating it out there so they can have something to say. We'll see. We'll continue to follow this and see what happens with Giuntoli. Is it this year? Is it next year? We will see. And going off of that, we continue to have news. Obviously, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Ale talked about it in his video. Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting that Giuntoli wants to replace Dusan Vlahovic should he leave with that of Hojlund. However, there will be strong competition from the Premier League and potentially Napoli. Obviously, potentially Napoli. If Giuntoli is still at Napoli, that's probably who we'll be going after. And I'm sure whoever was still there, if he comes to Juventus, we'll keep from his playbook and know that his playbook said to go after Hojlund, so that's where they'll go after. We will see how this works out. Again, I know a lot of people say, I've actually seen surprisingly more comments in our comment section when it comes to Vlahovic saying, we can't afford to lose him. And I'm like, hey, you can't afford to lose him. I mean, look at his stats from the last season. They were anything but impressive. impressive for Juventus, especially given what I expect out of him and the expectations of him coming into the club. So to lose Vlahovic, to me, I think is, I don't want to say it's okay, but I feel like I could suffer through that one much more than I could to lose a player like Chiesa. That's important to me, as well as another player we'll talk about later. Let's continue on and let's move on and talk about an update when it comes to the Alex Sandro situation. And I keep hoping year in and year out that I'll finally be able to be done talking about Alex Sandro, but it is not to be for this season. Mirko De Natale is reporting saying that the contract termination for Sandro is increasingly a distant possibility. His entourage working to evaluate incoming proposals. The player is liked by Galatasaray and a few Arab clubs. For the moment, no concrete offers have yet arrived for him. So obviously when I say that, it won't be for this season. It won't be until next season that I don't even have to mention the name. So we'll see. Hopefully, maybe potentially we will see either some way a parting of ways and we can move on and move toward the future. And best of luck, Alexander. I guess we can do that whole thing. All right, let's continue on and talk about a player I don't want to say goodbye to, a player I do not want to say arrivederci, a player that I'm a bit frustrated to see the moves that are being floated out there. And that is, of course, our guy, Matias Soule. Nico Skida is reporting that Matias Soule's agent, Martin, I'm not even going to try to say it right now. I'm sure it's easier. But as an American, I'm not going to butcher it. It's currently in Italy and is working to move Juventus's winger. Monza, Sassuolo, Real Betis, and Feyenoord have shown interest in him. And this is a frustrating one to me. A young, talented player who's being played out of position, who's not being utilized properly once again by Max Allegri, and this is a player you're going to end up losing out on. If we lose it on Chiesa, you lose out on Soule, and you continue to lose good quality talent for a commitment to a guy who is not going to be a long-term coach, a guy who will not see success at Juventus ever again, a guy that will lead Juventus further into the depths of despair that we've been in. That's the guy Juventus and their leadership are putting their hopes into, while all the young talent, all the good young talent and quality guys that we have are being pushed to the wayside, and that's frustrating for me. Let's continue on and talk about a name that does excite me, though, and a name that I would want to see, but again, it seems hopeless at this point, especially with Rabiot staying at the club. Will Juventus ever go after another midfielder, especially a guy who has been linked with the club for so long? And as, of course, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, his future is not set in stone. At least that's what Judo Sport says. They're reporting that Milinkovic-Savic remains one of the big targets for the club. The valuation is considered to be around 30 million euros, which can, however, be lowered by including a player into the deal. Obviously, Lazio are wanting to keep Luca Pellegrini. I don't think that's a deal that will coincide at all, and they'll try to use that player at all to try to lower the wage. We'll see. Maybe there's a possibility of that coming in, but more than likely, right now, I just don't have a lot of positivity or a lot of hope that this Juventus management is actually going to go after Milinkovic-Savic and bring in a quality player that Juventus have been needing for a long time. And I know I heard a lot of people say about Pogba in the position he plays in, and you don't need Sergei Milinkovic-Savic because of that. Okay, how many games did Paul Pogba play last season? How useful was Paul Pogba last season? Exactly. Let's continue on, though, and talk about a player again that I hinted at earlier. That I am frustrated. I am nervous. I don't know, chomping at the bit, if you will. That potentially could be losing, and that is, of course, talking about Gleison Bremer and the situation with him and Juventus. Corriere dello Sport is reporting that Aston Villa, Newcastle, and Tottenham are following Bremer. Juventus could be open to selling if an offer of 50 million euros arrives. However, with Bonucci offering no guarantees and Rugani in his last contract year, the club must have a plan forward. If you lose a guy like Gleison Bremer, your defense is decimated. You're absolutely decimated because this is a guy that you purchased and you made a move for last year to be the future of the club and the future of the defense. And now here we sit in it once again. Who could they go after if they go without him? Well, it's a name. It's a name of the past, a name that you've been interested in. But hopefully I think you were probably sitting back saying, I would like this name to be a name that plays alongside Bremer, not to be his replacement. And that, of course, the link between Juventus and Paul Torres. Corriere Torino is reporting that Paul Torres is the number one target should the club sell Bremer. So that's a bit frustrating to me, obviously, if you were to lose Bremer, but then you get Torres instead of having Torres and Bremer play together in a way that I was kind of hoping more to see down the line. Last bit that's not as much fun either is Juventus. If Bremer leaves, there's another name that's been floated out there for the club. And that is Juventus are interested, at least by Gaston Nadeau, who is reporting that they're interested in bringing in Christian Romero. So back to the old well we go, back to, a mistake-prone player that Juventus, shouldn't be probably looking at again. But here we are. Juventus is looking at Romero once again, and that could be the case. That could be, Bremer out, Romero in. I don't know at this point. I don't even know what to make a lot of these news reports. I don't know how to even feel anymore, because some of them become so, I don't want to say asinine, but there's so many just dumb reports here and there. I don't know what to truly expect in the end, because by the time we get here tomorrow, it could be an entirely different story. But that's what's being floated out there by the newspapers, by the journalists, and then we'll see what will happen, and we'll see what kind of Juventus we're sitting with here. Game day 1 in August. What are we looking at, right? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, stay notified for all of our latest videos. You can follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter, and of course you can follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri. Say hello to the old lady for me.